In this video, we'll go over 10 reasons why over time, a woman may stop loving and respecting a man. Most people would probably agree that a woman at the beginning of a relationship and the same woman months or years later can seem like two completely different people. One used to love and respect you, the other quite the opposite. Of course, there are exceptions. Some couples manage to maintain love and mutual respect even after many years together. But more often than not, it's the first scenario that plays out. So why does this happen? Let's explore a few possible reasons. Before we dive in, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new content about relationships with women. The first reason is that when a woman enters a relationship with you, she's often subconsciously guided by the example of her parents' relationship. In many cases, this means she grew up in a household with a strong-willed mother and a weak-willed father. A dynamic where the mother was in charge and the father simply followed orders without resistance. If her mother didn't love or respect her father, then chances are the woman won't be able to love or respect you long-term either. There's another scenario too. When a woman was raised by a single mother, without a father in the picture. From what I've observed, this can sometimes lead to similar patterns. Again, there are always exceptions, but often in these cases the woman may carry unresolved resentment toward her father and end up projecting it onto all men. On top of that, her mother may have influenced her to have a negative view of men in general. As a result, it becomes difficult for her to maintain respect for a man in her own relationships over time. The second reason a woman may stop loving and respecting a man is when he spent a long time chasing her, and eventually she gave in and agreed to date him. In many cases, she may not have felt any real attraction to him from the start. And just because he was persistent doesn't mean that attraction suddenly appeared. Sure, she might eventually see him in a different light in certain situations and decide to give things a try. But even then, she's unlikely to invest much into the relationship or give back emotionally. Why? Because by chasing after her and trying so hard to win her over, he's essentially showing her that his value is far lower than hers. That's why constantly pursuing a woman in hopes of winning her love isn't the best foundation for a healthy relationship. It's much better to find a woman who's genuinely attracted to you from the beginning. With her, there's a much higher chance of building a relationship based on mutual love and respect. Another reason a woman may stop loving and respecting a man is that he doesn't love or respect himself. Self-respect is a key foundation for maintaining a woman's respect. Assuming, of course, that the woman is a good fit for a relationship in the first place. If a man values himself and chooses the right partner, her respect for him is likely to remain. On the flip side, if a man respects himself but the woman isn't truly compatible with him, the relationship simply won't work. Their conflicts will be long, emotionally draining, and marked by constant power struggles. But if a man doesn't respect himself, and the woman also isn't suited for a healthy relationship, she's likely to start using him for her own benefit. As a result, whatever love or respect she may have had will gradually disappear. So for a relationship to be healthy and balanced, both parts are essential. The man must have self-respect, and the woman must be genuinely compatible. Another possible reason a woman stops loving a man is that there was never any real love to begin with. She may have had a purely material or self-serving interest in you and only pretended to be in love. When everything was going well, you might have believed she loved you for who you are. But as soon as problems arise, she disappears. Because the love was never real in the first place. This often happens when a man lacks experience or simply doesn't understand how to recognize a woman's true intentions. He may not realize that she's with him for a specific reason, not because of genuine affection. In such cases, He chooses a partner emotionally without thinking it through or noticing the warning signs. Of course, it's easy to talk about being intentional in choosing the right woman, but much harder to actually do it in real life. Still, it's something every man should strive for. The fifth reason is a man's high susceptibility to female manipulation. For example, a woman might try to make a man feel guilty, even if objectively he's done nothing wrong. And instead of calling her out and showing her that this kind of behavior is unacceptable, he starts trying to make up for his so-called guilt. Or she might say she'll leave him unless he does something she wants. I actually have a separate video specifically about female manipulation. I'll leave a link in the description and in the suggestions. You can check it out after watching this one. The key here is to understand what manipulation looks like, to recognize it, and to be able to tell it apart from genuine emotions. And most importantly, don't fall for it. Because if you do, the woman will eventually stop respecting and loving you. The sixth reason is when a man has no clear boundaries in a relationship. Or he does, but the woman ignores them and the relationship continues anyway. In other words, you're not willing to walk away from her, even if she seriously crosses the line. In either case, sooner or later, her feelings for you will start to fade. For example, you might tell her that it's not acceptable for her to hang out one-on-one with male friends, but she keeps pushing back and insists on doing it anyway. You may say something about it, but deep down she knows you're not going anywhere. And so she does what she wants. As you can imagine, with this kind of dynamic, it's highly unlikely she'll respect you or listen to you in the future. The seventh reason is when a man constantly tries to smooth over conflict. And to be clear, I'm not saying you should insist on being right even when you're wrong. That's the other extreme, and women won't love or respect you for that either. I'm talking about situations where the woman is clearly in the wrong, but instead of standing your ground, you agree with her just to avoid making her angry. Wanting peace and harmony in a relationship is admirable, but it has to come from both sides, not just from you. Otherwise, you'll end up in a situation where, over time, you won't be able to say anything that goes against her at all. That's why it's important to keep a level head and assess situations objectively, so you can respond appropriately and maintain a healthy balance. The eighth reason a woman may stop loving and respecting you is if you sacrifice your own interests for her and put her at the center of your life. For example, she might say she doesn't like your friends and that you should stop hanging out with them, and you go along with it. Or maybe you have a hobby she doesn't approve of and she tells you to find something more productive. And again, you listen. In these situations, the woman ends up having a huge amount of control over you. And as a result, her respect and interest in you as a man start to fade or disappear altogether. Of course, this only happens if you actually give in to her demands. When you do, you're showing her that she matters far more to you than your own interests or the friends you've had since childhood. The ninth reason is that you're not the leader in the relationship. Honestly, I believe that while there are a very small number of balanced couples without a clearly defined leader, in the vast majority of cases, there is one. And if it's not you, but her, then it's unlikely you'll experience long-term love and respect from her. After all, our history has always placed the man as the leader in the relationship. So it's important to take that leadership role if you want the woman to be loyal to you. The 10th reason is that the people around her speak badly about you. And importantly, she listens to them. For example, her mom or girlfriends might tell her that you're not the right kind of guy or that there's something wrong with you. When a relationship is just starting out, other people's opinions of you can play a very important role for a woman. But this can even happen when the relationship has been going on for quite some time. Of course, a suitable woman won't listen to negative things about you if you've been together for a while. On the contrary, she'll stand up for you and defend you in front of others. I hope this video helps you to make the right decision. See you in the next video.